This is the Codcast. All things Whitby Town FC.
Welcome to the latest edition. I'm Andrew Snaith and I'm very pleased to say I'm joined by Paul Connolly and Liam Ryder from the Whitby Town media team. And relief, as we've seen lots of players leave, of course, over the last few weeks. We've finally, Paul, got somebody going in the opposite direction. We have got a new signing.
Yes, we do, yeah, and it's felt like a long time coming, hasn't it? I know we're only a couple of weeks from the end of the season, but obviously with all the outgoings, I think it does worry people, and you know, myself and Liam and yourself as well, Goose. We've sort of spoken about the fact that, you know, we have got these players lined up, we have got them ready to come in, but we can't tell you yet. And then it's nice to finally be able to sort of have a chat about a player coming into the club and you know, have something positive to talk about. Obviously Stan Hewitt from Bridlington Town being the first one over the line. You know, a good strong powerful left-sided player. You know, Lee Bullock references it in his interview that we'll hear a bit later in the show. You know, he seems to think supporters will enjoy watching him, and yeah, only 19 years old as well. So, you know, he's got a bright future ahead of him after leaving Hull City last year, and certainly has done well at Bridlington Town in the division below. So yeah, really positive that we've got that first signing over the line. It's one that's been later than we hoped to announce, sort of thing. Not because of Stan. We thought we'd have another new signing over the line sort of this time last week, and as it turned out, that never quite happened. The players decided to go elsewhere after a bit of thought, due to, you know, family commitments and the such like. But yeah, so it's taken a little stumble to announce the first signing, but it's one of those. We've got there in the end, and you know, there's certainly a couple more to follow, hopefully in the not too distant future.
Fantastic. Yes, as Paul said, it is Stan Hewitt who's joined the club, left wing back, and he caught up with Liam earlier this week.
Well, Stan, first of all, welcome to Whitby Town. You know, you've had a sort of quite new to the non-league scene, I guess, a brief spell at Bridlington Town. But first of all, really, just sort of tell us a bit about your background. I know you came from Hull and Bridlington. So what sort of things, you know, what are your attributes?
Well, my footballing background was signed at Hull City when I was 9, and I was there 10 years and got released for my second year scholar and went straight to Brid Town and was there till the end of the season. I think my main attributes are 1v1. I've got pace, power, but as you know, I played left wing back and a bit of left back for Scott last year for Brid.
Yeah, and you know, you mentioned about Hull City. You know, obviously a very professional setup there. Disappointing, I imagine, to be released from there. But you know, what sort of things did you learn from your time at Hull? And I guess really, you know, does that release make you now really sort of more hungry to get back up to that sort of level?
Yeah, definitely. I think it learnt me a lot about just wanting it every day and wanting to improve. You don't know who's watching, and it definitely makes me want to play as high as I can and prove people wrong, I guess.
Yeah, and it's primarily been sort of Denny Ingram, really, you know, someone that knows you from Bridlington. It was sort of him really involved in getting you to the club. But what sort of things has he said to you that you know, convinced you Whitby Town was the right club for your next move?
Yeah, Denny's been great. I think it's just putting that confidence in me and believing in me. I think I didn't have no questions around if I was signing or not. I think the conversation I've had with Denny and the gaffer, I think it was a no-brainer, really. The belief in me, and hopefully the next season I can show why they've brought me in.
Yeah, and I know that it was sort of briefly mentioned at the meeting at the ground ahead of your sign, sort of about the plans in terms of the formation. We won't give too much away just yet, but like you referenced there, you know, you've played at wing back and left back, so I guess really a very sort of versatile, adaptable player in the squad. Yeah,
like I said to the gaffer, I'll play anywhere. I think I'll put my all in every game. I'll do anything for the team, really. So as long as I'm on the pitch, I'm happy.
Yeah, and you'll have seen, I know that Denny and Bully have mentioned it to you. You know, it has been pretty much a big overhaul at the club. There's a lot of departures, but some exciting plans from the management team. But you know, for you personally, I guess really it's quite a big compliment, the fact that you've sort of been the first player that they've been able to get over the line. They've been really keen to get you in nice and early, and I guess you've got to view that as a real confidence boost as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good feeling for myself. Obviously, the last few seasons have been very up and down with Hull and Brid and injuries. So I think that bit of confidence that I've been given from the manager, and it's definitely a good feeling.
Yeah, and another thing as well that they mentioned in the meeting was, of course, about sort of the last game of last season, that goalless draw against Cleethorpes, which ultimately kept the club up and avoided relegation. But based on that, I know that Lee Bullock sort of referenced about how happy the supporters were, how appreciative were the players. So I guess really, sort of exciting the prospect of, if you can actually start winning some games next season, that you can really sort of enjoy playing your football here with with some supporters behind you.
Yeah, definitely. I think from what Denny and the Gaff are doing, it's going in the right direction. It's a step forward again. I think obviously last year weren't maybe a great season, but I think we can definitely push on this season and be comfortable.
Yeah, and then just finally, really, you've already sort of covered it about your ambitions to start climbing up the pyramid again. But what would you say sort of your overall goals are for your time with Whitby Town?
My overall goals are just prove why Denny and the Gaff have brought me in. Prove to myself that when I get that run of games, I can shine in these leagues. And I think just do my best for the club, score goals, create goals, which is what I've always done, and get back into that run of games.
This is the Codcast.
Stan Hewitt speaking to Liam on his signing for Whitby Town. So here's the first one through the door for the new season, and of course we've been previewing that new season, Liam, with a look at some of the new clubs joining us. 7 new sides joining the NPL Premier for 2026 to 27.
Yes, and some good ones, I think. Obviously some big names in there, like Bury coming into the league, which I think straight away as soon as they're promoted, that's one of those fixtures you look forward to, maybe less so for what the result could be, depending how both our seasons go. But, from a financial point of view, you're looking at the big payday you hopefully get before we inevitably get them at home on a Tuesday night. But I think, for a lot of people, it's just nice to have some new teams as well. It's not just a case of, the same bunch of teams that you've got a good chance of beating, perhaps. You've actually got some new places to go. I know that the likes of Steve Holiday, us as well, we like going to new ground. And we're going to have quite a few of those next season, which is great. And no disrespect to the teams that have been in the league for a while, but it just gets a bit boring if you go into the same places year in, year out. So good on that front. I know we're looking forward to them, and again, the excitement for them is coming to Whitby for the first time as well, or at least to watch a game at the Tobar Express Stadium. So yeah, it's good to have them in there. I think really we just got to look forward now to facing them all and seeing what they're all about. And it's very tricky to sort of judge these teams because they come into the league and you think, oh, they'll struggle, but sometimes they don't. Or sometimes you look at a team that you think could do well in the first season in the division and go the opposite way. So plenty sort of interest. I know there's a lot of comings and goings, you imagine, with the fact that they've changed leagues, all of them. But good to have some new teams in there, and we'll look forward to facing them all.
Yeah, I was going to say, just to clarify then, coming down from National North, Curzon Ashton and Alfreton Town. The lateral transfer, the shock, I suppose, Quorn from Leicestershire have been moved from the Southern Central over to the NPL Premier. And you always worry about sides that are transferred, with them maybe planning for players who are based further south and how they'll react. Of course, Rushoe had a difficult season after they were transferred last season. And then, of course, the promoted side, sides. 4 of those Redcar Athletic from just up the road, of course, from NPL East as champions. The playoff winners from the East were Emley over in West Yorkshire, and 2 sides coming up from the Northwest, the Giants, Bury promoted, and also Avro as well, from quite near Ashton, that area, Greater Manchester. So interesting to see how they fare. And as Paul said a bit earlier on, he caught up with the Whitby Town manager Lee Bullock after the news of Stan Hewitt signing.
So, Bully, a busy summer, a busy off-season, shall we say, for Whitby Town continues. Plenty going on, and we'll start off looking at obviously how targets are progressing, shall we say, in terms of incomings for Whitby.
It is really busy. We're getting a lot of people contacting us, and obviously we've been talking to a lot of players. We've had some really good talks with a few. We've had some good news and we've had some disappointments this week, and the fact that we've agreed terms and signed a contract with an impressive player, and then we've also lost one as well who we thought was going to come in and be our captain, and we had him. Came to the ground the other week for 2 hours with myself, Denny, and Ivor. He agreed. He wanted to come. Then he had a little U-turn. Then we got him back, but there was stuff off the field that we can't affect, like football, money, level. That's all in our hands. But there was stuff, family life, work, young children. It was just always not quite there. So unfortunately, we've lost out on him, which was majorly disappointed. But then made up for it with obviously getting a lad in that we have been after over the summer, and there's a few more to follow. Touchwood, I'm meeting a lad tomorrow to sign a contract who I'm impressed with. But again, like we've had this week, until they actually sign it, it's just hopeful. But he's saying the right things, and it should be another signing with a few more to follow over the next week or so, and then the wheels are turning and things are starting to gain a bit of momentum.
That's good to hear, and I'm sure a lot of Whitby fans will be happy to hear that. Obviously, you mentioned there about a player being brought in, and we've got the name of that one, Stan Hewitt, the first one. Just tell us first of all a little bit about Stan, Bully.
He's a powerful young lad who, like we've said all along, he wants to come for the right reasons because he wants to progress his football career. And the only way he progresses his football career is by playing at a good level consistently and doing well. So, yeah, he's strong, he's fit, he's powerful and fast, and he'll bring us really good balance on the left-hand side of the pitch. So, a young lad, but a hungry lad, and I think the supporters will enjoy watching him. So, we welcome him, and he's the first new incoming officially of what's going to be, like you say, a busy summer.
And obviously, we spoke the last time we spoke a couple of weeks ago, Bully. You know, we were talking about having that sort of that first domino fall, shall we say, before the rest start to follow. So, I mean, for you, it'll probably be a bit of a weight off your shoulders knowing that you've got that first one over the line at least.
Yeah, it's not like obviously it goes without saying you need players to get out on that pitch, but it's still so early. Like people, like I said the other week, they probably are looking in and panicking. And I know for a fact people are bad mouthing us on the outside. Football managers, football coaches, agents, players are saying Whitby are this, Whitby are that. People love talking about this football club, but they all contact you about being here, and they all want to manage your coach here. So that's my response to that. We will have people in. People can say what they like about this football club, but everyone knows, everyone wants to talk about it, and that's for a reason. So there's a lot of lads at the minute that, like you say, that the people are in their ears. But once they start falling in places, once they start seeing a few of the signings that potentially some of the good players we've spoken to, and lads have got offers, we understand that. So we may have to play the waiting game for another week or two. But the Premier League's still going from this season. The Borough in the playoff final at the weekend. It's still this season. There's a long way yet before next season even gets going. So trust us. There's a lot of work. I was at the ground last night with Denny and Ivor, the chairman, from 6 till 8:30, speaking to a couple of players. That's what we're doing at the minute. There's a lot of talk going on, but players are, like you say, there's a few that are just options. I'm speaking to my dad, I'm speaking to my agent. So you've got to bite your tongue at times and just hope that you can get them in by seeing what this football club has to offer.
And then on the flip side, then Bully, obviously a couple of players that had been offered sort of new deals with the club have decided to move elsewhere. Alex Nelson, Frankie Whelan. So it's not ideal, is it? But obviously, you know, we've expected that there might have been more outgoings after the end of the season.
Again, I'll come back to look at the position the club was in. We survived by the skin of our teeth. So there's something not being right there. So lads, yes, we would have kept a few, but they've chosen. Frankie potentially is going levels higher. So well done to him. It's the ones that you get hit with a little bit. It's not about the money, it's about the level, and then they drop down a couple of levels for more money. But that's football. I've been in it long enough to say, right, fair play to you, see you later. We will get someone in who'll come and do it and go up the levels.
Absolutely, and then that pre-season schedule starting to take place now, Bully. Obviously, starting with the game away at Mask United on the 4th of July, and then followed up by a trip to Bridlington Town, and there's a home game with Pickering penciled in. So that those preparations really starting to take shape now.
Yeah, the fixtures are in. There's been a lot of requests again. Everyone wants to hammer us, but everyone wants to play us as well in pre-season. But we've picked a pretty localish approach. There'll be a few more games announced. The pitch is getting worked on in the next few weeks. So the first few games will be away, and then we'll get a few games at home. Pre-season's difficult. Lads come, lads go. Lads will be on trial. Lads are on holiday. It's all gearing up really for August the 8th, isn't it? That's what it's all about. But obviously, it is nice to get back out playing and seeing what's changed over the summer. And obviously, this year there's going to be some big changes. So, yeah, Mask, but that's a long way off me thinking at the minute. But thanks to Mask for inviting us and hosting us, because we couldn't get a game that day because our pitch is still being worked on.
The Codcast, all things Whitby Town FC.
That's Lee Bullock speaking to Paul earlier on this week. Great news that Stan Hewitt has signed, and we are expecting some more transfer market activity, which I'm sure we'll be able to reflect upon next week. But we can also reflect on a couple of new friendly dates announced, Paul.
Yes, yeah, we're heading to Bridlington Town on the 10th of July. So a place that we haven't been for quite a while. The last time we played at Bridlington, we faced Scarborough in the League Cup, as it was back in the day. So I can't remember the last time we faced Brid competitively or otherwise, to be honest. So yeah, it'll be nice to head to Brid. I think it's a ground that's changed a little bit, obviously with Scarborough playing there over the course of last season. They had to do a bit of work to get it up to National League North standard, so it'll be a little bit different to the last time that Whitby travelled there, certainly. But yeah, looking forward to that one, and of course the first home one as well. That's in the calendar against Pickering Town, Saturday the 18th of July for that one. So yeah, we're having a bit of a tour of Denny Ingram's former clubs, shall we say, for pre-season.
That's right, and we're going to change tack now, actually. Yeah, we're going to, but there is a Whitby Town link. Now, one of our most popular members of the people you'll see on the pitch, but not actually playing, and that's Bri Murfield, complete with his camera just on the sidelines at the Tobar Express Stadium. Lots of great snaps that you get to see. It's part of my routine. I'm sure it is yours as well, Paul and Liam, and you listening, no doubt, as well. The that after the games, Brian posts his photos, and you want to see if he's captured, that flashpoint or that goal, and he almost always has done, and in great detail. His photographs are superb. He's actually been recognised for his services to hockey. England Hockey have made him their lifetime achiever for Yorkshire and North East. Most of his photographs of Whitby hockey in action. I mean, Liam, he really is somebody who captures the best of the action. Bri Murfield's photos, just mutually popular, aren't they? He does a great job.
Yeah, and nice that with the hockey there, he's had a chance to have his work recognised. Really, it's a shame. I don't think they have really sort of similar awards at this level, because I'm sure that there'd be Brian and many a club photographer that would get nominated for those. But it's really good to work with Brian. He's very thorough, which I think we need, isn't it? He likes to get his photos right when he edits them. Everything about him, and I know I've got Owen. It helps that now with the away games, but for many a year we've had Bri there pretty much as the go-to for any home matches and catching those big moments. Going back many a year, but it's one of those, really, we can't do our job in the media team at Whitby Town without the likes of Bri being there, because there's only so many stock images you can use. But yeah, every match, the photos that come through, they are superb. He probably really doesn't actually get to watch much of the game as it happens, because he's looking through the lens of his camera, literally catching every moment. As you can see when he submits, hundreds sometimes of photos after a match. But that's just him in a nutshell, really. And we'll get more from him on Saturday at the centenary dinner. I know he's going to that, and that'll be a tester for him, I'm sure, in a very dark room. But yeah, this is. It's just nice that he's actually been able to get recognised, at an award ceremony of sorts. I know he hasn't maybe been yet, but it's certainly, just to have his name out there and recognised in that manner, because it's not just, the hockey, Whitby Town, pretty much the whole town, especially the sporting clubs, they all benefit from his work. I know that if Whitby are away, he'll go and make sure he gets along to one of the other local matches going on. So, keeps himself nice and busy, but, well done to Brian.
Absolutely, yeah. You're right in pointing out, actually, Liam. So if he's not at Whitby Town, he's at the hockey. If he's not there, he's, as you say, Fishburn Park, Whitby Fishermen's, or one of the village sides, Goldsborough, any of those.
He does the rugby as well, doesn't he?
He does do the rugby as well. So yeah, absolute all-rounder and very deserved award winner. Paul, I mean, we've worked with Brian plenty of times. He's superb, really, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely, and a great bloke with it as well. He's we always tend to have a good laugh with Brian. I think he enjoys the early part of the season when we get to do all the player photos and everything. He always tends to have a good laugh at that as well. So yeah, look, it's fully deserved. There's nobody really that's quite as dedicated to local sport on the whole as Brian is, and long may that continue. He's an excellent photographer. He's just an excellent guy all around. So yeah, I'm really happy for Bri, and really proud that we get to work with him week in, week out on the Whitby Town media team. Because for me, there's not a better photographer in football. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, spot on. Let's hear from the man himself.
Well, naturally, I'm over the moon and totally amazed by the award that came out of the blue. Lizette Lane and all the ladies' management of Whitby Hockey Club put my name forward at the end of the season without me knowing. So when I was told about winning the award, I thought it was a bit of a spoof, made up with AI, so to speak. Anyway, once I got the accompanying letter, I saw it was for real. But I was blown away, when I found out that it was an actual award. But anyway, it's always a humbling feeling receiving any award or accolade, because I'm just doing something I enjoy, and hopefully giving coverage and exposure to the rest of the town and surrounding area about how many wonderful sports teams we have here and how desperate they are to get the support they deserve. It's great seeing how many youngsters are coming through the ranks in local football, rugby, cricket and hockey. Both Whitby and Danby hockey clubs have an amazing number of young players feeding into the senior teams. Same goes for the cricket and rugby clubs too, of course. Whitby Fishermen and Fishburn Park have numerous teams from as young as 3-year-old upwards right through to senior ranks. So that bodes really well for the future sport in the town. But anyway, it's good to give something back to the sports I used to play a long time ago. Although a lifetime achievement doesn't make it sound as though I've reached the end of the road. Maybe it's not too far away, but not just yet. I'll still be sitting on the plastic Dalek stool for a little while longer.
This is the Codcast.
That's Bri Murfield on the news. He's going to receive an award for Yorkshire and North East for a lifetime achievement award for his photography of hockey in the area, and hopefully, you never know, he'll be nominated for the national version as well. You never know, he might just take that gong as well. I just have to talk him into going to the award ceremony. So he's going to be along on Saturday, and that is the centenary dinner. Of course, you'll be there as well, Liam. And what are your thoughts ahead of what is actually a very important moment for the club? A bit of a moment of transition, a bit of an unusual one, I suppose, this time around.
Yeah, it is. I've known that Lee Bullock in particular is very keen not to reflect on on the now, if you like, because of how many departures I've had this summer. But, most importantly, it's a chance for supporters, past and present, former players, plenty going to be there, former club officials, even some club sponsors that maybe, still involved in the club now in a sponsorship capacity but don't come to games. I think there's going to be around 300 people in the room for that one. So, plenty of familiar faces and some not so familiar. But, yeah, it should be a fantastic night, a long night at that. I know there's a lot of preparation gone into it. So I guess, push it out as far as I can. Pretty much at 6:30. I think the actual venue closed around 2:00 in the morning. Not that I intend to be there that late, but yes, it's one of those where there's been, let's say, plenty of work's gone into it. Live music on the night, got a DJ, got an auction, which I'm looking forward to seeing how much I can raise from that, because there's some really outstanding prizes in there. I know one of them being a hospitality package at Middlesbrough, which is worth £1,000 minimum, I understand. So that's kind of the starting point for that. Lots of good prizes in there. I think one of my favourites, though, any Only Fools and Horses fans will appreciate this. Dave Welsh comes to quite a few Whitby games, former drummer in Five Divide. People will know him from that. But he's recently invested in a Trotters independent traders style vehicle and basically done it up his freewheeler. And basically you can bid on a tour around Whitby. So that's going to be a barrel of laughs for sure. So that's probably my favourite prize in there. But yeah, on the whole, lots of great prize up for grabs, and I guess really a chance to raise some really good money for the club as well.
Brilliant, yes, absolutely. Yeah, and I know you're both going to be there, so hopefully a chance to catch up with some Whitby Town past players, legends, club officials, plenty going on at that event at Whitby Pavilion this weekend. We will be back next week with the very latest on the transfer trail. We're going to be busy all summer, and the latest on the friendlies as well. A couple more announced this week, and hopefully there'll be more to come, I'm sure, in the days ahead. So thank you very much to my guests on this week's edition, to Paul Connolly and Liam Ryder from the Whitby Town media team, and also to Lee Bullock, to Stan Hewitt, and to Bri Murfield as well. Thank you for listening, and we'll be back next week. Bye for now.